I'm your host, Caleb.
I'm Seth. I talk Star Wars with this man.
All right. Let me adjust some stuff here real quick
Mm.
because Kick is not going to show the correct name. Also, it's there we go. Um, what's been up with you this week?
Uh, Working a job I don't much care for, but money's money at the end of the day. Still need to do something.
Yep. Um,
Other than that,
since it's been on my mind and everybody else in our sphere has been talking about it, we're gonna address the elephant in the room.
mm,
Are we talking Ahsoka? No, because nobody else is. Because of the strike. We are in a better position than a lot of the other podcast groups that I'm connected to, because like a lot of them are having to shift focus. So like Podwans, they're about to have to shift focus once they're done, because the Rebel stuff they're gonna finish out because they've already like had that set, and they're almost done. They're on season 4 and they've got a few episodes left. But after that, they're shifting to more interview content.
mm,
So, whereas with us, thankfully, 99.9% of what we talk about is books, comics, video games.
mm.
So, we're kind of in a better position regarding that. Because, so, we're in solidarity with them. So, we're going to show that support that way. There's really nothing to talk about, I think, outside of that, because I don't think there's any news that going on, unless there's some big out of nowhere book news. Oh, San Diego Comic-Con Lucasfilm Publishing panel happened, so I guess we can look at that.
You see the ghost?
Oh yeah, that's right. So Hasbro, that's right. Hasbro is doing a. So Hasbro used to do, because they stopped doing it for a minute. They did this thing called Pulse, which was like special projects where it was like, here's a toy that's really that we let the fans pay for before. Yeah, Scotty's here. He can explain it better.
I'm a toy guy, so
Yeah.
am I on? I can't.
Yeah, you're
okay. Cool. So Pulse is the fan club. So like you join Pulse to it's their app, and so it's their Hasbro has a Kickstarter program called HasLabs.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And HasLabs have been doing things for the last 4 or 5 years. They did a Razor Crest. The first one was the sail barge.
The Rancor Pit did not make it.
Yeah, they've done 4 Star Wars. 2 of them haven't made it. They did a Rancor, which wasn't really good, and they did the which sister's in Obi-Wan?
Oh, Reva.
Reva. They did her lightsaber that didn't make it. But they this time around they've listened to fan demand, and they put out a ghost that is 3 3/4 inch scale, so it's about 3 feet by like 2.5 feet. It's huge.
Yeah.
It is huge.
It does seem like vehicles work better for HasLabs.
Yeah, I mean the GI Joe is the case because they just funded the Dragonfly last week or this week for GI Joe, and that thing's huge too. But it comes with a Hera, so I was like, of course I have to buy it. And then it has its tiers are the other members of Spectre Squad minus Sabine, because they're putting out Sabine separately. You'll be able to buy her, but and they're in their TV/movie look is what they're calling it. But their costuming is the costuming from the mural,
Oh, okay.
and the backgrounds on the cards are the mural. Is their character piece on the mural. It's gorgeous. It is fantastic. It's also $499.
Yeah, that's yeah. The HasLabs is not cheap.
Yeah, this is one of the more expensive ones. I think this and the sail barge is about the same price point when it come out.
Okay.
And sail barge was almost like 5 feet across. It's huge. I've seen it. I've seen it like at cons in the box, and just stands up. It's like a toddler. I mean, it's like a fifth grader. But yeah. So they need 8,000 people before they will make it. They got to have 8,000 pre-orders before they did. By the end of the day yesterday, they had about half of that. So it's one of the fastest growing HasLabs they've ever had because everybody wants it. I mean, I put 2 in myself. I got one for myself and one for the shop.
Yep.
So we will do an unboxing.
Was that the Malgus he sent me? Was that one you acquired, or was that one that you saw somewhere?
No, that was from San Diego.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a Black Series that's coming out probably in the fall or early winter.
Yep.
That's
yeah,
it.
Harith and I have theories about where they're gonna take Star Wars books after the High Republic stuff is done.
Oh, the weirdest thing that they put out, the Hasbro's putting out, is the there's a 3 3/4 inch Revan coming out that looks pretty dope, but they're doing Chewbacca from Life Day,
Huh. Like,
in the robe.
okay.
This
So, yeah.
it's the weirdest thing. It's like, first of all, I think that's the first official holiday special toy,
Yeah, that's the first toy I can think of.
and so I'm curious what they're gonna call it on the card. I need to look. I think they have it on card because usually they'll say like which movie it's from, or if it's from the expanding universe, or they'll do. But I don't know if they put holiday special out or not.
Yeah.
I have to look.
So there's a lot of book and comic news.
Really?
Yeah, a ton of stuff
Yeah, so
with no celebrities at
yeah, with no celebrities at Comic-Con, they gotta talk books,
yeah.
and comics, and video games.
Comic-Con became Comic-Con again
Yeah.
instead of like what's your newest movie, what's your newest movie release, and so
Yeah.
it's been epic.
So this is coming
very
to
cool.
us through Star Wars Newsnet, through Star Wars Explained. So Alex from Star Wars Explained, he was actually there. So they showed some covers for the next High Republic phase books that are coming out because we know the names, but they haven't shown us the covers yet. They showed us for the first junior novel, The Escape from Valo cover, which has I just dropped his name, Ram Jamaram, who you don't like because he's the one that introduced the phrase wizard to the Star Wars universe. Chronologically, yeah. Chronologically, Ram is the start of wizard
You
as slang.
have no idea what you've caused.
But it is being co-written by DJO and Alyssa Wong. And DJO has been really good. We like his work. Alyssa Wong, we like her Afro stuff because she writes the Afro comics. But the cover looks interesting. It looks like that could also be. No, that's not him. I was gonna say that could be Emmerich, but that's a little short for Emmerich. Emery's a little bigger, because they always talk about how he's bigger. Emery's always like a little bit bulkier and taller in the way that they describe him. We also got our first young adult novel cover. We already had the adult novel cover because we talked about that last week, a couple weeks ago.
I think so.
Because that was the one with just Markion spread on the throne. Because Star Wars really loves doing the spread on the throne look now.
I'm not gonna give them too much
Yeah.
grief about it. There's only so many ways you can sit on a chair.
Yeah, but that one. So it looks like from the cover we're gonna focus for the young adult novel, which is Defy the Storm, will be focused on Vernestra, Avon, and Jordana Sparkburn. So, and that's going to be Tessa Grattan and Justina Ireland co-write, which they've worked really. I mean, they did really well with Path of Deceit together. So, them writing together is a good thing in my opinion. I like when they work together on books.
The best thing about Jordana Sparkbird is that she doesn't fucking care anymore about these Nihil. She's like, yes, I will set my pet tiger on these guys. I am so tired of them.
Oh, man. And then we go into the comics, where we got the first 2 of the mainline comic, and we also learn more about the Children of the Storm as the new villain focus.
Okay.
Because that's actually a Child of the Storm is on the cover, along with another one of the Nameless. But on the first issue cover, we see Keeve and Lorna D. And which one survived? I feel bad for not knowing which one survived.
I don't remember either.
It's either Tarek or Sarah. I know that. If y'all want to correct me in the comments and y'all know, feel free. I just don't know which one off the top of my head because it has been a while since I've gone through the material. I should before Phase 3 really starts, so that way I can have a fresh mind of the more recent events because Phase 2 has been 150 years. You know, it's a few. It's got that degree of separation. Whereas Phase 1 and I think it's what, a 3. They said it's a year gap between 1 and 3. But you were gonna say?
I think it's Tarek. I think he's the one that was fun.
Okay, yeah. And then we get the miniseries. We get the second cover. We don't get. I think we've seen the first issue cover, and that's why we get the second issue cover now. For Shadows of Starlight, which is actually going to be our first piece of media, because that releases in October, even before the first short story drops. So that'll be our first piece of media. And so the second issue, we see our boy Elzar with Starlight right behind him in the ocean.
Good day to be Elzar.
Is it ever, though? I guess when he's having sex. Or, yeah, that's about it. Because what, he did it in Rising Storm? With the lady that was helping run the fair? And then that was it, really. Although his heart truly lies with Avar, but they can never be because they're both Jedi. Yeah. Honestly, after the High Republic initiative, okay, so Harith and I have said that we think that the Old Republic is going to be the next initiative. That or an Old Republic Dawn of the Jedi combo, but with the strike, that's probably going to disalign. That's going to unalign any synergy. So probably just Old Republic will be the focus. But I also think that they need to start doing some, because it's popular right now in the book community. Start doing some romance, like get some romance novels in Star Wars. Lost Stars is the closest thing we've gotten to that. Give us a good romance novel. Give us a Jedi romance novel, like the High Republic says that there's a bunch of in universe. The Jedi, like, have on the cover like a Fabio Jedi. You know it would be great. High Republic Adventures. So they dropped the first 2 covers for that. And we see Zine and Court, who are definitely older, which definitely tells me that I'm pretty sure it's a 1-year gap, I think they've said. But it could be more.
Who is that, and why are they so pissed?
What, Court?
Yeah, he looks so mad.
I mean... But yeah, well, they're also looking for...
Not Avar.
Oh.
Morales or Lula.
Lula, yeah. They're looking for Lula because remember she went missing and we saw her die in the free comic book day issue.
Stop it with these fake out deaths. Sometimes people have to die.
Like Stellan.
Yeah.
Which we get a preview page of for
there was no fake out.
We get a preview page of in the High Republic character encyclopedia. Yeah. And the Drengir get a little preview page. So according to Alex, Star Wars Explained, to those of y'all who watch him on YouTube, apparently they did a reading from the passage for A Certain Point of View, Return of the Jedi, live with Mark Thompson reading for the Obi-Wan story by Alex Jennings. Apparently just on the fly, Kenobi and Luke reading. Going back to comics, we got preview pages of Dark Droids, which is the big crossover event that's coming up now that they've finished with all the Crimson Dawn stuff, which we haven't finished because I don't think we read the last arc on show yet.
No, we have not.
But they've finished printing them, and so Dark Droids is the next crossover, which is about that evil droid that we saw in the preview with that one comic where we got the Force vision from Vader. And apparently we get the reintroduction of D Squad from Clone Wars, which is an all-droid squad, and this time including R2 Chopper and our buddy the pit droid. Trying to remember his name all of a sudden. I should know this. Whack 47. His name is Whack. We also get a preview of Tales of the Death Star, which comes out September, which is our, our horror comic, because we got to have our yearly horror comic from Cavan Scott. And apparently it goes all the way from A New Hope to The Rise of Skywalker in terms of like how far the timeline goes for it, which kind of fits because that's kind of where Tales from Vader's Castle, like each year when it was done by IDW, Vader's Castle stuff was eventually going just past where the movies were. Like they were getting there anyways. For those of y'all who keep an eye out for visual guides, which we have a few of those here, they're doing a Dawn of Rebellion visual guide, which is going to cover all of the Dawn of Rebellion era stuff. So Andor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, that stuff. And yeah, and then they just kind of gave a. They kind of also gave a final panel of like all the books that are coming out that they didn't have time to talk about. So there's like a cookbook I can see in this picture. This picture comes from Laughing Place. Let me put it up on screen and we can look at it together actually. There we go. And so, like, off the bat, I see a cookbook in the bottom right. There's a sticker book, some kids' books. We got that's a kid's book. Is that a guide to Wookiees? Yeah, Secret of the Wookiees. So they're doing a Secret of the Wookiees book, which is, so the Secret of books are kind of like these are like written from the in-universe perspective of certain characters, and we see like we learn more about the stuff. So far, we have like Secrets of the Sith and Secrets of the Jedi, but it looks like that's a Secrets of the Wookiee book. That'll be cool. Trying to figure out what that book is.
Which one?
It says I think it's like conversation something. Conversation cards? That might not be a book. That might just be a little something else. Jedi Survivor, are they doing a book adaptation? They didn't do one for Fallen Order. Maybe that's a comic? Because they did do a spin-off comic for Fallen Order. We knew about Dawn of the Rebellion. Looks like there's an Ahsoka Clone Wars thing, because that's Clone Wars Ahsoka art. Tales of Enlightenment's getting their thing. That happened with the other one that we had as well, where they just
the collection.
Yeah, where they just made it a collection of all the short stories. Yeah, just put it in one book. We got some golden books, some young readers, a Mando adaptation, young readers, because that almost looks like Mando. That's definitely Mando. That's gonna be their comic book. That's really just frames where they use frames from the show. Because they do some of those. That's the Dark Droids D Squad stuff. We got Tales from the Dark Side. Sanastaros, that's probably for the paperback, because Sanastaros comic is almost... Sanastaros comic's done. They printed all the issues, actually. So yeah, that's probably for the next trade paperback version of it. What's Max Rebo doing there? Oh, I see. That's the Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary. So that's probably a one-shot for the 40th anniversary comic. Actually, I think I knew about that one. Dr. Aphra stuff. The final issue of the Yoda miniseries. Darth Vader Black, White, and Red. Dark Droids. Looks like these are probably all trade paperback stuff, because... That's Volume 3 of Phase 1 of the High Republic Adventures, because we never properly got that yet. And then it looks like trade paperbacks for Phase 2 High Republic Adventure stuff is what these 3 are. And then trades for Phase... No. I don't know what these are. Yeah, and there's the final trade for the main line comic of Phase 2. And then, of course, we got Return of the Jedi from a Certain Point of View, Rise of the Red Blade, Crimson Climb. These are things we knew were coming. A young children's book for Phase 2. Then we got a short story collection that's going to kind of close the gap between Phase 1 and Phase 2 and 3. Tales of Light and Life. Got the character encyclopedia and Eye of Darkness with Markion spread. And then our short story, our young readers and our young adult and our junior readers. So yep, that's all the stuff that we got. Not bad. I think that's a pretty good look at what's coming up book wise. That gave us the rest of the next season and a half of content to talk about.
Yep.
So let's talk about this week's book. Well, comic.
Yeah.
Han Solo and Chewbacca, Volume 2. So we start off where we left off with Chewie in prison.
Yeah.
And Han left for dead.
Yep. Shit. Not really a good day to be either of them.
Yeah.
Get into a prison fight, get stabbed, get
Run-
shot. Left.
At least Chewie runs into Maz
Yeah.
and makes a friend.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of our friend?
I have no strong feelings either way.
I say our friend because they're our friend now because Chewie's our friend, so you know.
Mm. I don't remember her name.
Yeah, any highlights though of the comic?
I don't know what Corbus did to piss the marshal off so much.
Yeah, Corbus really. So to kind of fill in the gaps, Corbus is not Han's dad, but that's the person who was claiming to be Han's dad last time we talked about Han Solo and Chewbacca.
Yep.
And we've learned in the first volume that no, he lied.
He's not.
It was so he could get to the orb that everybody's after.
Yeah.
Which we kind of learn what it is.
Yeah.
It's this computer AI for a droid is what's actually inside it. And of course, when Han figures out what it is, he's like, why does Jabba want this?
The big question that
Literally all sides are asking, actually. Like,
Yeah.
everybody's kind of like, why would Jabba want this?
yeah.
And yeah, so that
I forgot that Tonga is in this.
yeah, Tonga's in this, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they have to connect how Tonga knows Keltana
Hmm.
For stuff currently going on in the Bounty Hunters comic to kind of give non-spoilery stuff of what's going on.
Yeah.
So, obviously, everybody's after this still,
They're like,
except for the Marshal who just wants to
does
take down...
not care.
They either want to take down Han... They just want to arrest somebody at the end of this.
What was it? I don't care which one of you, but one of you has to
Yeah,
go.
Buck Vancto. Yeah, Vancto just wants to arrest somebody. And
Oh
so,
wait, you got the wrong person. Doesn't matter. Don't care.
yeah,
And it's like, no, that's
Phaedra is the name of their new friend.
okay.
Yeah. So Phaedra works with Chewie and Maz to break out of prison. And the
man.
breakout is hilarious. The the whole Han going after them as well and meeting up in the middle of nowhere, and the ship getting taken. Millennium Falcon gets stolen so much in this comic
Yeah.
run. But by the end of it, I need more issues of this, and I'm upset it's a miniseries.
Mm.
Because it was originally supposed to be an ongoing. They said it was going to be an ongoing when they announced it. And then about halfway through the run, they said, oh, actually, we're going to stop at 10 issues.
Mm.
And, of course, that's because comics is a fickle market where if you don't sell well quickly, you think, and you're not a big name character, your comic's going to run. It's going to be a miniseries and die. Like Han Solo and Chewbacca are big name characters, but I think it's the difference between a mainline Star Wars comic where it's just called Star Wars and a side thing.
Yeah.
So like they figured, oh, we can end this because you still get your Han Solo and Chewbacca fill with the mainline Star Wars comic. My problem is I like the other characters that are in this comic as well, very much so, and I like the interactions between Han and Chewie and them. I like Phaedra, even though we just really get to know her. I really like Corbus Tyra as not Han's dad and his whole scam and what he's up to, and I need to know what's the next phase of this plan, because by the 10th issue they're like, oh yeah, we're not done with that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what do you mean you're not done?
It's over.
And so, like, because I'm invested now in Corbus's story, and I need more Corbus. Now, Greedo can go. Greedo gets what he deserves in this. But I do like how Han and them get out of the debt, like, get out of having to deliver this to Jabba, and how they do this in a smart way.
Yeah.
Because they have to give Jabba something, but they don't want to give him a possibly very dangerous AI, which, mind you, that the person they go to is a throwback to an earlier comic. The Ugnaught they go to first appeared in the Lando 2015 comic.
I'm like, I don't.
You haven't read
are.
that, yeah. You haven't read that yet, but yeah, and that's what they're referencing is the events of that comic, because they talk about how they did a job for Lando recently and everything went
To hell.
yeah, and that's the comic they're talking about. Because without giving away too much of that, they heist. The Lando comic is about a heist onto Palpatine's personal yacht.
Oh. Why?
To steal some valuable artifacts from his yacht. And of course, what type of artifacts are going to be on the Sith Emperor's ship?
Probably fucking evil ones. It's just a guess.
Yeah, the Lando comic surprisingly ties into a lot of comics. Because it ties into this. It ties into the Darth Vader 2017 comics. Because of the artifact in particular that they find that starts fucking things up. Because that, I don't know if we talked about it before. Momin, have we talked about Darth Momin on the
I
show?
feel like we have.
His spirit residing in a helmet.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Fuck it.
yeah. The Lando comic is what introduced that.
No. Fuck.
So that's where all of that comes from. So yeah, that. So it had a little bit of tie in there. So the Ugnaught from the Lando comics, like, yeah, no, this is dangerous, bro.
Yeah.
And then the Empire comes in and starts shooting things up.
Whoops.
Cause, yeah.
Phaedra. Chewie, I need you to eat these chemicals. Han getting the urn or the
Yeah,
memory
getting the
core
urn.
back.
Yeah,
It's nice that a plan actually went well for one.
and then it doesn't. Yeah.
Yep.
And then just the chases between them and Corbus, where Corbus is always like right on their tail, and
Yeah.
then Vangto is right on Corbus's tail. Man. And then Corbus tries to make a deal with Vangto. He's like, look, You could arrest me, but I know you really want Han. I could lead you to Han. He thinks I'm his dad.
It's like, yeah, how'd you pull that one off?
Well, I just had the right amount of information.
Sure. You know what? Fine.
I am curious, like, how Corbus knew all this information about Han's dad, because this does seem like there's a lot of stuff he shouldn't know.
How you figure?
There's just because they have that one flashback. I can't remember if it's in this volume. I don't think it's this volume. I think it was volume 1. They had the flashback where they showed like the conversation between Han and his actual dad, and Corbus somehow knew that conversation. I feel like Corbus either knew Ovan or at least had witnessed some of these things, and eventually it just happened to come to use.
Yeah. Well, let's face it, Corellia is awful. Probably wanting to get off and fly one of their ships is pretty common aspiration.
Yeah. But yeah, so eventually though they everything does work out though.
Yeah.
Because what really happens is Han and Chewie bury it so that way it cannot be found, which obviously that does not go well.
Sorry, Ajax Sigma, you're not gonna be around for a little bit.
But you are gonna come back, so yeah.
Hearing the story of Ajax Sigma and thinking about what's her name?
Oh, my brain. Say it again. I'm sorry.
I
drifted
Han
there.
hearing the story about Ajax Sigma and thinking about the droid lady.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Lando's.
Yeah.
Oh. Why is it just slipping from me right now? L3.
Yeah. And being like, yeah, I remember.
Man, I am off today.
Didn't work out.
I am really off today. I don't know what's going on. That's really about because the main points I wanted to talk about is how I think there should have been more of this comic, because I do like the arcs that we got and I kind of like the storyline, and of course, yes, this is the end of them going after the vase, the urn storyline.
Yeah.
Like the urn storyline's over. That's fine. They could have told more stories though of Han and Chewie during this era. Like
they could have.
Because right now as far as we know, there is nothing coming up that's going to cover this time period for Han and Chewie. So why not just use the comic to do that? I mean, I think it told a good story starting off, and I like where Corvus's storyline is going. I could see more jobs being done for Jabba by Han and Chewie, and maybe running into, maybe we see run-ins with Boba Fett, and we get a little bit more of a connection of why they don't like each other. And so that could have happened in this comic, but since they left it off on 10 issues, these are the questions that will currently never be answered.
Is Boba Fett just Jabba's HR department?
No, because I don't think you send your HR to kill people.
Well, if you're a crime boss, you do.
That's fair. No, he's just he's like a lawyer that's on retainer. So he's like, but as a bounty hunter, he's on retainer. So Jabba's got him on retainer. Until he screws him over during the War of the Bounty Hunters. But that was not Jabba though that screwed Boba over. That was Bib.
Yeah.
Once again, Bib being the worst. Bib is just consistently the worst. And so, like, I like this comic. I like what it's doing. It could definitely be better. I'm not saying it's a perfect comic, that's for sure. It's not perfect. There's a reason why I don't know too many people outside of me and a couple of other people who really read comics who have read it. So, like, I get it. But your thoughts?
It's okay.
Would you have wanted more, or are you kind of fine with where it is?
I'm fine with where it is. I don't really think that... Like, it's clear that they set up for more, but as for where it is, it's all right.
I think if anything, it's going to connect to the Dark Droids plot line. They'll try to
Well,
find
I
a way to
would
fit that.
Imagine so.
I think they'll try to bring. I would think, in order to finish Corvus's story properly, they would have to bring him into the Dark Droids storyline
Yeah.
somehow. Maybe put him into the Bounty Hunters comic. But right now, the Bounty Hunters comic is kind of filled with a lot of characters right now because they've got everybody
They
pretty
got
much.
Everyone is here.
Yeah, they've got the smash. Everyone is here situation.
Yeah.
Because like they've got you got Tonga, you got Dengar showing up every now and then still. Bosk is still a key player. Boba Fett's a key player again. Obviously Valence is a key player right now,
Yeah.
especially with the Valence having brain drain at the moment, as I'm calling it.
Not my files.
Yeah, he's having a memory. He's having a memory crash there.
Have we tried turning him on and off again?
I think that was the problem.
Oh.
Yeah, but his RAM is not doing so hot. His processor is doing okay though, so he's at least running. But his memory's not great.
Sorry, thinking back to an older comic where Vader's like, "I took your fucking heart out," and Valence immediately tried to kill him.
Yeah, and so like, on top of that, there's
You okay, man?
yeah, I don't know why I'm just slipping on names right now. Alien was in the Gindi Clone Wars.
Dirge.
Dirge, yeah, Dirge is now a key player.
Yep.
Death Stick's a key player now.
Yep.
So,
Forgot about that.
although they got rid of your pugilist.
Yeah. I understand why though.
Well, him and Tonga had some differences of opinions on how things are being ran. And since Tonga's in charge,
You're being cut.
although it's Kel, they're now in Kel's Tana's ship, so
Yeah.
Kel is now also an important part of the Bounty Hunter storyline. So yeah, like I said, Bounty Hunters is kind of full. So
Yeah,
I don't know where they would.
That's a lot of people.
I don't know where they would fit Corvus into this without cutting some people.
Yeah.
Which they reasonably could, but with the current storyline, they can't.
Yeah, they're busy with other things.
The current storyline is, of course, saving Valence's brain. Well, memory, because computer. Oh yeah, Forlom and Zuckuss are still part of the Bounty Hunters team too. So
Yep.
yeah, the only one not there is Tonga's girlfriend because Tonga made her girlfriend go with the pugilist, and so
She's like, executive decision time. You
Okay.
need to go.
protect my girlfriend.
Yep.
Which is fair because they, especially since the first thing was we need to go find Boba Fett, and last time her and Boba Fett were around each other, Boba Fett killed her brother. So,
Yeah.
that's everything I want to talk about regarding this. I mean, it's a shorter. I know it's a shorter podcast episode this week.
Yeah.
There's less stuff to talk about. We're having to cut down on things to talk about regarding certain stuff.
Yeah.
We also didn't really do much this week, so no real tangents to talk about. I give it a strong 7 out of 10.
Yeah. I don't know if it's just that I'm tired or that I read it like all in one night. It might be that. It might be that I haven't really gotten a lot of sleep because I decided to sleep at 8 and then wake up at like 11:30.
Yeah.
Like, I don't hate it, but I'm not like
It's not the
terribly
strong. It's
attached
not
to
the
it.
yeah. It's not the
Yeah.
strongest piece of media we read, which we kind of reserves the 8s and 9s and 10s for.
Yeah. I'll give it
So I think it's
maybe a 6.5.
I mean, that's still pretty fair. That's still passed. Like, that's still passing. It's barely passing, but it's passing.
Yeah.
That's you could do better,
Yeah.
but you're not, like, doing awful either. I kind of agree with that, but I say it's average, so that's why I went with a 7. So that's it for this week. Next week. What are we talking about next week?
Good question.
We are. Oh, did you have something else?
Yeah, I got finished up with a show on Netflix recently. It's been out for 2 years.
Okay, well, considering the thing we talked at the
never
top.
mind.
Yeah. Because they're one of the struck.
I see.
Yeah. You can tell me off air, because you can still. We're not telling you guys how to do it. For us personally, that's just how I want to run things. I'm still having to debate some this stuff because I think part of why I think that's part of why I'm off right now. I had a heated discussion just before, and I'm trying to think things out right now
until that's resolved.
Yeah. But as far as how this show is going to be run anyways, that's just how I'm going to run this show and how I'm going to run my media. I don't want to tell anybody how they should run theirs. I'm just saying that personally, I think for support, that's how I'm going to run it. And so they say feel free to still watch stuff, go to movies, watch TV shows. They haven't said to stop that. They're not, they're not striking against that type of action yet. But for now, just promoting stuff is really the thing that they're trying to not do. But you can still talk amongst your friends. Like, they just don't want you to be like posting on Twitter and like doing reviews and stuff, Yeah, next week. Found it.
All right.
Sorry.
So
I was still looking for next week. So next week we're talking Hyperspace Stories Volume 1, Rebels and Resistance, which is it's the kind of replacement for Star Wars Adventures comics. So basically they're going to be like different type of stories within each issue. Like an anthology sort of thing. Yeah, thank you all for watching. Sorry for the shortness of this episode and also the kind of offness that we had this week. There's just a lot going on. And I hope everybody's taking care. Be sure to, if you are watching on YouTube, you can find us on YouTube, Kick, and Twitch at Escape Reality Films. You can also find us on TikTok at Escape Reality Films. And be sure to follow, like, subscribe, whatever you can do on those, on the different ones, different platforms. And you can also find me on Twitter at Escape Reality 94. I am also on Instagram and Threads at caleb.lockwood. And you can also, support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/Escape Reality Films. Thank you to Seth's mom, who is our main Patreon subscriber. You can, if you join us on Patreon, you can get our YouTube content a week before it's uploaded to YouTube. A lot of video game stuff that's being posted.
Yeah, you've been going through
different stuff. I'm going through Demon Souls for one. I've been going through. I decided to check out every D&D based RPG.
Oh god.
Or video game almost. Yeah, video game I should say, because the very first one I played is not an RPG. It's a dungeon crawler type thing, but it's like pre-DOS, like it's Commodore 64 game. It's just called Dungeons and Dragons, a computer fantasy game. So
at least it didn't lie to you in the title.
And then the next game I'm playing is called Dungeon, which is actually based on a board game.
Oh.
Which I think that's going to be a common theme for a lot of these older ones, because a lot of older video games based on tabletop properties tend to take like the board games of certain parts of it and just try to video gamify it. Like Warhammer did the same thing.
Yeah.
Like a lot of their first few games are just the what's the name of that Space Hulk, or just Space Hulk the board game, but turned to a computer game. Like they've done Space Hulk 4 times. Warhammer, like they've done 4 different video game adaptations of Space Hulk. I'm not the authority on that though. That would be we would have to bring JD on the show to talk Warhammer. He'd know more about that than me.
Yeah, I don't.
But speaking of other groups to check out, be sure to check out Cult Movie Cantina over at Mobcast Network. They talk about cult movies and, you know, have drinks and all that good stuff. And this week is going to be a cult meeting because they're gonna film that tomorrow. So this week's going to be a cult meeting, and you can check out the cult meeting to see what movie they're going to talk about, and you can find them at youtube.com/Mobcast Network, Mobcast Network on any fine podcasting app. And it's facebook.com/Cult Movie Cantina if you want to find them on Facebook. And they're the ones that like give the studio space to us. This is their space. Yeah. That's why there's so much of their stuff here. So they give us the space to do our show and talk Star Wars with y'all, and they talk movies. Yeah. They are also. Am I missing anything with them? No. Also, check out, if you're in the Mobile, Alabama area, check out Gamers and Geeks, which is our local gaming shop. You can find them on Howells Ferry and Moffett. Yeah. I got it right. Hey, my brain didn't disconnect on that one. Because that's the one that usually gets me. But you can find them on Howells Ferry, Moffett. They're behind the gas station in that shopping center next to the Piggly Wiggly. They do board games, card games, different tabletop games, arcade in the back where if you pay $10 for the day, you get a wristband and you can play free play machines in the back with the arcade. They are also connected to Engage Gaming, which is a video game rental, in-house rental type service where you pay an hourly rate and you can play on their PS5s, Xbox Ones, PC, VR machines that they keep in-house. You can also join a monthly membership with them to get a reduced rate on that. And they also sell video games, classic and newer. So check them out. And then we've got D&D thing on Sundays.
You can catch some friends of ours over on Steam, all caps, _dungeon, every Sunday, 5 to 7 Central Standard Time. I have no idea what's going on. But
I'm a little behind myself.
I think they went to a party.
Another one?
Another party, because they got invited by another group that...
Another group that they hate?
No, I don't think they hate. But I'm also not sure that the other group likes them very much.
Oh, okay. All right, well, once again, check them out on twitch.tv, Steam, all caps, _dungeon. And then they're also on YouTube now.
Yeah, like the first episode of it is out on YouTube.
So yeah, if you want to go back and rewatch an older episode, you can check it out there at Javon
456.
Javon 456, and that's JEVAUGHN 456.
Yep.
And he's a good friend of the channel.
Yeah.
Known him for years. So go check them out. And we'll see you all next time. Once again with... am I forgetting something?
No, it's fine. It can wait until after.
Okay. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. I have spoken.